Hey guys, how you doing? I just want to make a quick video on some of the calculator functions for linear regression. So the first thing you're going to have to do is they might give you two lists of data. Remember that the data is paired data, so you have to put them in the same order. So you can just put them into L1 and L2. Just make sure that the order is the same. You can also rename these lists. It just makes it easier if you rename them with the actual contextualized X value or X name and the name of the response variable. So you can do that in a couple different ways. You can just scroll up and go, right until you get to this empty list. Then you can just go second alpha lock on your alpha keys, and then all these green keys are your alphabet, and then you can just find the keys and just type in the word. Okay. You can also just insert a list. Like if you just go second insert, it'll insert a blank list, and the first thing it asks you to do is to name it. So from there, you can go to second alpha lock and lock it on alpha, and you can just name it whatever. Let's just name this one temporary, like T E M P, then enter, and there's temp. And I don't actually need that list, so I can delete it. Remember, there's a difference between delete and clear. Clear will just clear out all the values of data. Delete actually will delete the data. So I'm going to delete, and that gets rid of the list. Okay. So I have these lists, and I've already entered a couple lists, and I've renamed my lists NEA and fact gain. Notice that I also have a list called resid, which is all my residuals because I've regressed this data. But here's my X and here's my Y. Okay, so let's say I want to go ahead and regress this data. I'm actually going to delete this list called resid. Okay, so let's delete that entire list. Remember, delete means it deletes the whole list. Okay, so I have NEA and fact gain right here. That's my X explanatory variable. That's my response variable. I want to regress that. Okay, I want to regress the Y, the fact gain on the X. So I go to stat, calc, number 8. I don't use number 4. Okay, remember, we're not doing ax plus b, we're doing a plus bx. So number 8. So 8 is linreg a plus bx. That's the form that we want to use. Go ahead and press enter. Okay, my X list, it says L3. Well, I'm not using L3. I'm using a list called NEA. Well, I could type in NEA, but that takes so long. If I go to second list, it's right underneath stat. Second list lists out all the lists that I've created, or all the lists that I have. So I go to second list. Okay, oops, that did not work. Let's see, let's do that again. Second stat, calc, number 8, second list, and there's my lists, or the names of all my lists. Okay, and I'm gonna pull up NEA. And then for my Y list, again, I go second list, and then that is fact gain. And my frequency list, I'm going to leave that blank. My store, I'm going to leave that blank also for now. We'll use that later. I'll show you how. Okay, and now we just go ahead and calculate. Okay. So now I get the A. Okay, I get my A, my y-intercept. Okay, remember how to interpret that. Y-intercept tells you that our model predicts that if x is equal to 0, x is in context the NEA gain. Our model predicts that if the non-exercise activity change is 0, then the predicted increase in fat gain would be 3.505, etc., etc. B is our slope. It's downward sloping. Okay, R squared and R. If you're not getting your R squared and R, remember you have to turn your diagnostics on. And to do that, you just go to catalog, which is second 0, catalog, and then scroll all the way down to diagnostics on and turn them on. And then press enter, enter, and it'll say done. Okay, diagnostics on, enter, enter, it'll say done. Now you'll see your R and your R squared. Okay. Let's say that, okay, I've regressed my two lists, and then now how do I import my residuals? So I'm going to go to my lists, stat, edit, and I'm going to go to a blank list, but I don't have a blank list, so I'm going to insert a list right here. Okay, so second insert, And I'm going to name this resid. Okay? Or I can import my list by going again, second list, and I'm going to scroll down. It will automatically have a list called resid. Press enter, enter, boom, there's all my residuals, and they're in the correct order. So this is the residual for this data point, this is the residual for that data point. Okay? So all my residuals are right there. That's how you import your residuals. Let's say I want to draw the scatter plot of the actual observations, the observed values. Okay? To draw a scatter plot, I just go second stat plot. I turn this list on, okay, and I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to select the first graph as a scatter plot. My X list is my NEA, and my Y list is not resid. Okay, that would give me the residual plot. My Y list, I'm going to go ahead and put in second list, and I'm going to choose fat gain. I'm going to use the box for my marks, and then I'm just going to do a zoom stat. Zoom number 9, there it is. Okay. If I wanted to make the residual plot, same thing, except instead of the Y value, I'm going to use resid. So second list, choose resid. Now when I do zoom stat, you can see your residual plot. Okay. All right. That is pretty much all you need to know for calculator functions for this chapter.